Welcome back to yet another episode of Foster Talks. And today with me, I have the author of all these books, a national bestseller, an entrepreneur, a TEDx speaker, a lot more things to his hat. Today, welcome Kevin Missal to Foster Talks.
Thank you.
How's your day been going?
Very good. Very glad to be here and very privileged to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So happy to have you here today. My first question to you is, Kevin, people know you as an author, but you also an entrepreneur. Today, if you have to introduce yourself to a set of people who do not know you at all, how would you be introducing yourself to them?
I usually don't introduce myself because I don't know, I get really awkward to introduce myself. I've always been a writer first, and but at the same time, I'm also someone who's very passionate about helping other people. And that's the reason I call myself an entrepreneur because that's a traditional term to it, but it's someone I just like to help. I like to help, and I wanted to build a very, I would say, like a kind of like a centralized platform where I can help other authors like me who struggled, right? So that was the idea.
Amazing. So I think I've seen Kevin Missal fan clubs on Instagram. I know a lot of people reach out to you in terms of asking you questions for mentorship for their writing journey and everything. So can you elaborate a little bit on this journey that you have taken for yourself in terms of helping others?
So I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, to be honest, because like I never thought of it as like a very spiritual mission. It was not really a spiritual mission. It was just that after writing for 5 years, seeing the industry professionally, writing for 5 years, a lot of authors used to come to me for advices and all. And one time it came to a point where every day I was getting calls, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, now I'm exhausted. And I need a team for that. And that is when I started hiring people because I was like, because I can't do everything alone.
Of course.
And there are a lot of authors who are facing issues, and thus that step by step, something that one particular decision of helping authors kind of created into a company which is now, it's been 3 years now. So
So if you have to change anything in the industry, because like we all know, you are an established author. There are more than 15 books, physical books out there. There are audiobooks separately. So you know the industry really well. So if there is, let's say you wake up one day and you get 3 wishes, and the wish could be regarding changing something in the industry, what would those 3 things be? I
think one would be is that we have to be more data focused. I think it's a very data deficient industry, so we don't know exactly what is selling, what is not selling. So data focus definitely. Second thing is obviously quality. I think there's a very lack of quality in terms of writing, in terms of production, everything. So that second thing is obviously, I would say. Third thing is there's a lot of chor chakari going on. So that is something you have to be very clear, steer clear of. Like, I hope that doesn't happen to a lot of people, because I know that I've been a victim of a lot of thievery in this industry. So, and I'm sure a lot of other authors would have been. I still talk to a lot of authors today, and they say that in 6 months, I wish I met you 6 months prior, Kevin, because I spent XYZ money on these stupid things. So I think all these 3 things I would say, and I would make sure that I hope things changes, and this is our wish list.
Okay, this is like because you were talking about we wouldn't know what really sells, what really don't sell, because I think even for me as a reader, I pick up books sometimes which is trending on Instagram. So that's I think a great way of marketing, or somebody has to refer some books to me, then I might actually pick it up. So today in general, like if you have to like give a pinch of wisdom from your experience or what you're generally seeing in the market, as an author, you wrote a book, which is your hard work. You have your ideas, you wrote a book, finally it's there out there published. How important is marketing that book? Like what do you actually term in terms of what comes under marketing if you have to put it into a basket, and what is it, how much will it actually sell just because the book is amazingly good?
So I believe that marketing is very, very paramount, primarily because it has like, how should I say, it's paramount because it's a very cluttered environment today, right? And there's a lot of mind sharing happening in terms of we have movies, we have OTT, we have We have a lot of other small things that games.
Yeah.
So content consumption has become very, very accessible. Earlier, content consumption was very low. That's why books used to sell a lot.
Yeah.
The world is changing now.
Yeah.
And marketing plays a huge role, primarily because you want the eyeballs to be from all the other forms of content and on your content.
Yes.
So that's where the marketing comes, and I think as we go forward, marketing will become far more and more important.
Okay.
But I think where marketing has to also evolve itself also is that it has to be more data driven. In terms of, as you said, right, that I see a book on Instagram, that's why I see. So that's a new form of marketing, right? Like we don't know what will go viral, what will not go viral.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, what I would say is that now we need to be more data focused when it comes to marketing as well.
Yes.
What has worked, what has not worked.
Yeah.
We have to quantify our metrics. So that's what I think marketing plays. And what was the second question? Like,
no, I was talking about one.
What are the buckets, right? Yeah. So buckets would be obviously how the book is produced. I think that is most important. Product has to be good. Otherwise, no matter how much marketing you put in, it will not sell. The second word would be, I would say, is obviously there's digital marketing going on. Then there is obviously traditional marketing. Then there is, so these are the 2-3 buckets that we play with now. But again, what will work, what might not work, it is totally dependent on data. It is totally dependent on what has worked for that particular genres.
Oh,
so you have to keep mapping what has happened better and not happened good.
Okay.
So like for instance, the poetries are doing well today nowadays.
True.
Short form content is doing well. So it's a very easy to go viral if you just post like small basic reels also of that.
Yeah, very true.
But you can't do the same for a thriller book.
Yeah.
Or you can't do the same for a fantasy book.
Yeah.
That is a
not
totally
even
different.
for mythology.
Yeah, not even for mythology. Yeah, exactly. So mythology books, what has worked is obviously going onto podcasts, chatting about it and everything, talking about the content, seeing. So that is something,
So in that case, if we are looking at it, yes, we have no questions in terms of how established an author you are, but I'm definitely sure there are certain recipes that actually worked out for you. Will you be able to pick out 1 or 2 things which actually for you as an author, for the success of books like Kalki, which is tremendously selling even so well even today. Are there 1 or 2 things that you think has really worked out for you?
I would say don't think about ROI.
Okay.
Spend.
Yeah.
If you have the financial bandwidth, spend.
Yeah.
The second would be resilience, not to give up. In terms of that, a lot of authors, they kind of just give up very quickly. Probably I'm not a good writer.
Yeah.
I think no one. If you hit a home run with your first book, you are one of the very lucky ones. Kalki got popular after I wrote almost 4 or 5 books published. So, but a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think Kalki is the first book, though it is not.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot from people.
So that is, you have to be very, very, very,
Interesting. So what if somebody started writing a book out of passion, without the plan of becoming a full-time author? So there is no plan of next 5-6 books, but they really want to. They might have in their head is only for 1 or 2 books. So are you meaning to tell that people who are just looking at 1 book or two books may not be really able to survive in the industry?
I mean, see, totally depends on the objective of the particular individual. If the objective would be is to, just publish it and make sure that a handful of readers read it, great. But if you want to be a bestseller, you have to be a prolific writer.
Which means technically take it up full time.
Yeah, which is take it up full time, or probably work like a horse on that books, right? Obviously, there are examples where we see that there's a 1 book wonder, like Harper Lee, for instance. Killer Mockingbird was 1 book, and she wrote. She didn't write another book for a long time. Right, but those books are mostly focused on literary fiction, and the success rate of those books are very, very rare. And they only get successful after they win a particular prize. To reach that particular prize, and then after getting successful, is a long time period you are suffering from.
Yes.
So,
true.
Yeah. Plus, you need to have a good backing. Plus, you need to write something which I don't know, which is something which is which comes from the heart, which is very tough also because the heart lies often.
Okay, interesting.
So,
interesting. So how do you put this thing across? Like, for example, any product, let's say, I mean, ultimately book is also a product in a good way. But then every product, it's very difficult for a product to cater to everybody. That's why obviously we have kids products separately, we have adult products separately, ladies separate, gents separate, everything. We have something targeting a niche audience, right? So how do you think books generally work? Do you really think that when writers are writing, they're targeting a particular audience, or does book, according to you, have the capability to go beyond any kind of target audience and reach to everybody?
No, I think definitely. I think if you think of a particular target audience, like I thought when I was writing it, I thought I'll be focusing on 20s to 30s.
Okay.
Right, Kalki I'm talking about. It ended up being read by 12, 13-year-old kids as well. Like the kids loved gore. Kids loved violence, you know. So, and even I see that a lot of 50s to 60s people also read it. So I see at the end of the day, you write for yourself. I did the mistake of not writing for myself later on. And now I'm writing for myself. I don't care. And I think as a writer, you should not care. Because see, if you don't care and if you write for yourself, you will eventually find like-minded people who will also care about that. So that should be your objective. Your target audience is yourself. Write something what you truly love to read.
I think that's always something that authors, I think, I've heard mixed opinions from authors. Either people are telling that no, writing is your passion, you need to be writing for yourself and then everybody else, but there is another set of authors who keep telling know your audience, write what they want to read. Okay, that is actually an interesting piece. No, like you said, I've seen how you're very popular among school students. You're very popular among the older generation also, because my mom loves Kalki for that matter. So yeah, I don't think there is a target audience for that matter.
You can never. The writer can never think of a target audience.
Yeah, true.
And that's the weird part with marketing of books as well. Because like with marketing, the basic rule is find your target audience.
Exactly. That's why my question was, coming back to those whole pieces. So again, relating to your writing or your experience as an author, and you being an entrepreneur who's helping others to market their books, isn't this a huge clash? How do we bridge this gap? Is there something that you can suggest to the authors, upcoming authors, which might help them out in really putting their book out there?
See, I think with marketing, with especially books, they don't work as they work as a very different kind of product when it comes to them. It's not like a shampoo product. It's not a necessity. It's a luxury. You know, and it's a habit also, obviously, but it's a luxury as well. And what you need to do is that, and see, obviously, with books also, you don't understand what kind of an audience you will end up tapping in, because it's very tough. Like you might write for kids, but you end up impressing the adults. You never know. Right. So what usually I've thought of, which is, I won't say it's a mantra or something, but it is something that has worked in the past as well. Do everything. And then see what has worked. Do everything, because see, you have to do everything. Otherwise, if you do like a very specific thing, then you do this thing, and then you'll be like, yeah, ye chala nahi. Then you do that thing, ye chala nahi. You do everything. You see, okay, which has worked. Okay, now you focus on that. So.
Okay, this is interesting, because I am trying to keeping away from asking you questions about your books, because there's been enough and more podcasts, there's been enough and more articles. You have talked enough about your books. I don't really want to ask about your book, but make use of your expertise as a marketer, as an author to this interview actually. So again, coming back, taking a step back, like you said, people tend to do, I mean, you are suggesting that people try everything. This could be digital marketing, offline events, everything put together. How much do you think the author being present or available to the reader is important?
Very. I think especially for commercial fiction, it is very. It totally depends from book to book, I would say. There are a lot of authors. See, even for instance, let's take Salman Rushdie, whose new book Life has just come. He's everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Right? He's everywhere. He doesn't have to be. Even if he like stays at home and chill around with it, you know, watch on TV or whatever, he can still, the book will sell.
True.
And yet he's doing it. So when you see these kind of activities being done, author is the face of the book.
True.
So if the reader doesn't feel connected to the author, they will not read the book also. So, or they will read the book and then they get connected to the author. So it can go either way. Like a lot of times what happens is people talk to me, they get impressed, they're like, "Arey yaar, this guy seems interesting. Now let me read his book to understand him more." Some people read my book and then they come and meet me, they're like, "Arey, I should read more books now because I like this guy." So that's the thing, right?
I agree, because I think as a reader, I mean, because I love books, I think this is always there. There are certain times you meet an author at some random event, then you're kind of curious to go back and figure out what is it that author has actually written and want to go and figure it out. So you've kind of stuck to the genre of mythology. I know you've in between wrote a thriller also. Any other genres that you would want to work with?
I would love to write a detective fiction.
Okay.
I think that's one of my favorite genres to watch at least.
Okay.
I love a closed room whodunit kind of a thing. You know, they have very interesting stories, and I love to write a great detective. I would say, yeah. But I've not yet been able to think about anything interesting, different, because I would also like to write about, I would say, thrillers I've written already, so I don't think so. Science fiction I've tried. I'm not really good at it.
Okay.
I don't understand science much. I've never been a science guy.
Okay,
But I would like to write something like that.
Okay, interesting. Have you ever thought of writing a romance fiction?
No, I don't think so. I'm not a very, I would say, cheesy romantic person type.
Okay, why I was asking about these genre was majorly because there are a lot of authors in India today, or in internationally also for that matter. We know the author and we know they are kind of sticking to a particular genre. So we have a lot of very famous authors in the romance fiction category. You have authors in the thriller category. You have authors in the horror category. So do you think that while these authors are building up their potential readers, their own kind of community, do you think when the author changes the genre or experiment with new genres, they are at a risk of losing out the readers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think, see, the thing is, if you see Shah Rukh Khan doing like a very random ass movie, let's take, you see him doing Zero, for instance.
Okay.
Right? It was not making sense. Like, it was a comedy movie though. It was a comedy movie, it was a romance movie. But you don't want to see him in a doff way.
Okay, yeah.
You just don't want to see him. So I think at the end of the day, yes, you will lose out on your audience if you don't fill their expectations.
So in this kind of a scenario, how does the author gain more readers? Because readers are generally have an affinity towards their favorite genres, right? If I love romance fiction, then I would want to read more and more of romance fiction. And let's be honest, there's literally a lot available in the market. So when authors stick to the same genre, and let's say a bestseller author, they already have a good amount of readership or good amount of followership for that, for people who love that genre, right? So how can an author kind of reach out to more readers if they are not stepping out of that genre?
See, I think readers are very malleable. I think they're very adaptable. I think they might say that I like only mythology, but they will also like romance. They will also like thrillers. See, a good book is a good book, right? At the end of the day, irrespective of the genre. So to convince a reader to like read your book is very easy. You know, it's just that you just have to write a good book and you just have to have a loyal audience who can recommend your book to other people. That's it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of readers who have never read a mythology in their lives, and they've read my book. They love the book also. So that's how it works. You know that you don't need to find new readers. You just have to cater to the ones which will follow you, and the new readers will follow through.
Interesting. That is actually interesting. Now coming back to your genre, mythology, when you started your writing journey, that is very young age, you know, you wrote your first book when you were 14 years old, and since then it's been a lot of years, that's been a decade that you've been writing. What has been your motivation to stick to mythology? Where did that passion come from?
I think with mythology what happens is there's a lot of genres that we can work around with, like they can have romance, thriller, action, drama, fantasy, history.
That's true.
History. There's a lot of genres within that one.
Yeah.
So I don't have to like get fixated into one
Okay.
particular thing, right? Like
Okay.
right now I'm writing the sequel to Kanda.
Okay.
And
People note that.
Yeah.
Sequel to Kanda is
sequel
coming
to
up.
Kanda, yeah. So that genre, like I'm writing mythology. Like we know Kanda's story, we know how he dies, we know how he was born, everything, right?
Yeah.
But I've been able to like add like a lot of family dynamics. I'm able to add a lot of political, you know, maneuvers or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm able to add a lot of mystery. You know, even a very mystical. So like within that same world, the same characters that we know, the figures that we know, I'm able to create something new out of it. So I think that is what I think mythology in general is something like you can come up with something very new things on a regular basis.
But do you think that mythology as a genre has picked up a lot in India during the recent past?
I would say it has gone down now.
Okay.
It used to be very good.
Yeah.
I think now mythology is now going towards the OTT and the visual media. So now that has been picking up because now see the thing is it has become far. Obviously, the visual effects have increased. The budgets have increased. Inflation has gone up. So like more people are watching more stuff. So it's become far more easy now for filmmakers to create these kind of films and you know. And the moment visual come into the picture, the books will die. You know, the books will die because obviously they are not visual.
Okay.
You know, so and then now since AI is coming in, I am like next 5 years, 10 years, you never know. AI is creating entire movies.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. You never know they're getting entire movies, and you know the editors and the filmmakers just have to like piece and patch and everything together because so the budgets also go down. So it's far easier also now to create whatever it is there in the book.
True.
So mythology, I personally feel as a book genre, while it will exist and it will not be as successful as it used to be. Because now we'll have other mediums it'll be as popular as a crime thriller or it will be as popular as a romance. Which the other, you know.
Okay. Now picking up two questions from what you just said. Question number one, like you said, OTT is taking over readership. Where do you think this will lead to? Like your personal opinion. Is there a chance that readership will actually die and visual media will actually come out more and more each day? Or do you think that readership is something that can never die? Like what's your take on that?
I don't think readership can ever die. I think readership will always survive. Obviously, see when I'm saying readership is going down in terms of it's still increasing. Every year we're growing 8%. But yes, it's not growing as much as it could be. Okay. Primarily because you know, we as humans, we are as we Indians, you know, we are someone who are like a book is a very boring thing. Why are you reading books?
It takes time.
It takes time. And we are into shorter content. But see, now what is happening is everything has a saturation point. Eventually the short content, the fast content will be too exhausting for us because it will be too much of content for us. I am already getting the exhaustion already. Like I get very, very frustrated when I go on reels and I end up watching reels like for 4-5 hours and I'm like, where did the time just go? But now it's starting to get in my head now because I'm like, it's getting boring. Now I need something very slow paced, chilled out, like don't want to like, you know, be so ye cheeze, see, everything has a up and down. So right now books might be a little down, but it might pick up again. That's how it works. But books will never die. Books, it's very tough to kill books. People have tried to kill books in the past. That's very tough. One thing that can never die is books.
I think that's very true about digital exhaustion because 1 hour if you spend scrolling your reels, by the end of 1 hour, your head is aching, you're tired, you don't know what to do next. But 1 hour sit with a book, you're refreshed.
Streaming platforms in the beginning, you know, they were into binge watching. Now they have kept weekly episodes. True. I mean, literally they invented the same thing and then they de-invented it again. Because they realized that people are not involving themselves. They are binge watching it, then they're removing themselves from the subscription.
No, it's true. I mean, I think it would also be because when Netflix, OTT came into picture, we all like every other thing we would have had at that honeymoon phase. We were so curious, we were so excited about having a Netflix or a Prime or a Hotstar.
This is going to happen with short content right now and it's going to die a very nice, painful death.
In that way, though, I think as a reader, it's a happy note that books has always been there. It's encouraging. Okay. Now coming to my second question, when you spoke about AI. I keep seeing a lot of content, a lot of debates that's going on today in the industry talking about authors using AI to finish their books, to generate ideas, to write their book, I mean, multiple ways. I'm not asking you whether you use AI or not, but what is your take on that?
Not for me. I tried it. I won't lie. I tried. See, AI is a good assistant.
Okay.
You know, you can't write what you have in mind, right? Like the bloody thoughts I'm having every day.
Yeah.
And chapters I'm writing of Kangna, I'm sure AI can't write.
Okay.
Because something new. See, AI can write only what has been written. It's like it's a conglomeration of data that has been already written. But I am writing something new. Though I am also a conglomeration of data.
Yes.
But out of that, I'm twisting into something totally different.
Refreshed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have tried to work with AI to get some assistance in it, but वो मेरे से नहीं हो पा रहा because I don't know. I'm an old school guy probably. But that doesn't mean my company doesn't use AI. I think as an entrepreneur, I'm all about AI adoption.
It saves time.
It saves time.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm all about AI adoption. But as a creative guy, I would say I'm more of a typewriter guy than a laptop.
No, I think I can connect to that because I don't think I use AI to figure out what to ask you.
Yeah.
But my video, when it gets posted, the captions are definitely AI.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So,
it saves time.
So I think creativity, I don't think so will ever die. I've seen a lot of these AI assistants, writers. I feel personally, I don't know how much help it will do. But I think creativity should be the sole focus. AI should just be like the support.
Agreeable. Okay, last two questions to you. One would be, have you ever thought about writing a non-fiction?
Yeah, of course, I would want to.
About what? What would you want to dive deep into that you would really want to create a book out of it?
I don't know. I am yet to think. There was this one title I had in mind. I don't know what it be about, but it was called God Hates Us All.
Okay.
So
okay.
So that was
curious.
That was the title I had.
Okay.
I have not yet thought about it, but I might write a non-fiction.
Oh my god! I hope that that title doesn't become controversial for a mythology writer. Okay, interesting. And then my last question to you would be, if writing has always been a huge part of you, and when you decided to become an entrepreneur also, you've decided to be in and around the same world. You've been working around books, you've been working around the same publishing industry and all of that, right? Now, is there a dream, is there a vision that you are kind of holding on to with your books, writing, publishing industry, everything put together? Is there like a dream world, your utopia of this industry?
No, I think my only utopia would be is that I want to bring automation into this industry. I want to bring centralization to this industry, lack of transparency and more organization aspect. My only objective would be is that I want to remove all the vendors, the third-party people, the brokers of this industry, because there's a lot of I would say unorganization there.
Yeah.
So we don't know who's mooching off who. So I think that is, I think once I create a very centralized aspect to it, a very organized aspect of it, I think I've done my job. And automation, of course, because we are a very backward industry when it comes to automation.
Yeah.
So if we bring that automation into it, then I think these three things, if we are able to achieve, I think we create a new, different industry altogether. I mean, we are talking about a parallel publishing industry.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a very nice visionary industry. How much percentage of it do you think you've reached so far?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what really matters is it should be easy to work in this industry, and I think that's where goal is to make sure.
I know I said that was my last question, but then because we were talking about the industry, I just have one last question, final last question. So the industry, the publishing industry, for the public, this is an industry that's kind of unknown. Yeah. It's a complete dark ocean. It's a complete black box for them. Because as a reader, you might know what is trending on Instagram, what is available on a bookstore. You might maximum know is what are the offers that could run or the events that could run. But the industry as such, what really happens in the background, for a lot of other industry, there's information available. I don't have to be working in an industry to really understand that. But publishing, I personally feel, is an industry that there's no information. So is this kind of intentional, or is it something that is actually being done, or is there no way to get this out, or what is really going on?
I think this industry it's a small industry. So that's why, since it's a small industry, a lot of people don't know about it. Okay. And it's a very hoity-toity industry. So we don't try to we don't let other people enter that in this industry. We only work with the people who are around us. Like, you won't believe, there was this one person who was working in one particular company. He shifted 5 companies in the same. Okay. He was just jumping from year to year. So the idea is that we have to allow new people to join. We have to allow new minds to open up. So I think that's what I'm very happy that my entire team is non-publishing background. Because that really helps me to have new ideas in terms of approach. So that's, I think, But I think we should stop calling it as a publishing industry. We should start calling it as a content industry, because I think we are a content industry. Publishing is just an aspect of it. The major game is of content, right? So if we start, there's so much of content, so much of overlooked content. If you're able to do that, then
I think that's very clearly evident how sometimes a little constrained the industry is, because my own experience, if I'm trying to list Foster Reads somewhere, you don't have options in the drop down. There's either publishing industry, but I'm not exactly sitting here and publishing books. There's actually no options. Then this is a request to the entire industry actually then to be doing something about it. Well, that's it. Questions from my end. Before we end, is there a message that you would want to give out to the readers?
Like, subscribe, comment on Foster Talks.
Okay, and before, would you want to tell about your upcoming book?
It will be like one of my early books, Kalki. That's very similar.
Okay.
Same twist, same turns, same unpredictability.
Are you using Kalki's name because that was the bestseller?
Yeah, I know. A lot of deaths. See, I have a good market here.
Exactly. Cool. Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming in here today. It was great having you here, and good luck with all your future work.
Thank you.
Thank you.